This episode is brought to you by Paintsville Tourism. Visit paintsvilletourism.com. Paintsville is located in the heart of the Country Music Highway on US 23 in eastern Kentucky. Come see why Paintsville is eastern Kentucky's city of note. Visit paintsvilletourism.com. This episode is brought to you by the Highway Artist Management Agency. We take pride in helping artists achieve their full potential. Visit us at highwaymgt.com. That's highwaymgt.com. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle, try Pops Chevrolet. Pops Chevrolet will give you the best price guaranteed. Visit popschevy.com. P-O-P-S Chevy.com. Welcome to the Behind the Shed podcast.
Backstage at the Opry was like a thing. There was always something going on.
Yeah, he and what was his wife's name? The fiddle player?
No idea.
No, that's not her.
No, not that one. They were very, very good.
Yeah.
Ramona?
Is it Ramona?
That sounds right.
That
Ramona,
sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Grandpa Jones's wife?
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't know him.
I just called her Grandma. I didn't know you weren't supposed to. It's like Grandma Jones, of course, right? I mean, it's...
It's crazy. Remember seeing Kurt Denny, because his dad was the opera.
His uncle, was
his
stage
uncle.
manager.
His uncle.
Stage manager, but he's like 9.
Yeah.
And it's like Hank Sr. and all these people on the stage at the end of the night, and here's Kurt and his brother sitting down in the corner.
Yep.
This picture.
Absolutely.
Denny Music was big at one time, huge, right?
Yeah, and then Cedarwood. Yeah, he started Cedarwood.
Cedarwood
And,
was that was Bill Denny actually, wasn't it?
The brother. Right. They were all in cahoots. Turns out.
Yeah.
Another really funny grandpa thing was when someone, maybe Marty Stewart or someone, had a tape of Yoko Ono about the time John Lennon was shot, and it was circulating backstage at the Opry, and
It wasn't good.
Grandpa said, who is that? And I think it was Marty said, Grandpa, that's Yoko Ono. Well, who is that? Said, you remember? Said her husband, she was married to John Lennon, and he just got shot. And Grandpa said, it sounded like they shot the wrong one.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Like they missed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Harold, what
And
was
I thought of one more I was going to tell you.
What's that?
Keep them coming.
Yeah.
Okay. What?
No, go ahead.
No,
I
go
love
ahead.
these
Go
things.
ahead. Maybe it'll come back.
I was just going to ask you, I was thinking yesterday about what was your first paying job in the music business?
Oh, I never had a paying job.
I haven't got it yet.
Boy,
think
good
you did.
question, Chuck. Well, I guess my first paying job was with Scotty Turner.
Wasn't a podcast.
It was not a
we
podcast.
And it
asked
was,
her.
well, you could say it was music. We were doing jingles.
Right.
Yep.
And he and Nelson Larkin and I
Nelson Larkin.
started a company, a jingle company, over on Broadway.
Right.
1500 Broadway, or Division. Broadway.
Right there at the split.
Because, Tribute Transmission was right back.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
That's funny. What year was that around?
That was 71.
All right.
Yeah, it was a little
1971.
different back then, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Yeah.
That's back when they used to have.
It was a great time to be here because every club in Nashville, downtown was busy, and the alley was busy. All the clubs, the Western Room, and the Fiddle and Steel
Tootsie's.
Bar, and Tootsie's, and
Stockyard.
Joe
before
and
the
Eddie's,
Stockyard,
and Boots Randolph.
Yeah,
Randolph's place. I remember
And on the very end, the guy, what was his name? He got killed. A couple of guys.
Right there in the corner.
Yes. Skulls Rainbow.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
Skulls Rainbow Room.
That's right.
Was a great place. So it was during that time. And right across where you entered the alley was a really good restaurant. I don't remember the name of it, but there was a lot going on. The Western Room, when I came to town, was Jim Vest and
Beckham.
no, Jerry Croon was playing drums,
Oh yeah. Oh,
and Cliff Parker was playing lead guitar, and Marlis Rowe, Jerry Croon's wife, was the singer. She was a great singer, and the bass player, I forgot his name, but they had a good band. Always had a good band at the Western Room,
Right.
or anywhere else in the alley at that time. And then you could go on down. There was Toots's, and then
And she was there.
yeah, that's right. She was there, and then diagonally across the street was a guy named Julian Thorpe. He was a steel guitar player from Florida, and he had a club. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a great place to go at that time. But Broadway was a great place to be,
At the time.
because
Right. And it's weird how the
anyone that was anyone, they were
Was
there.
that place called was it the Fiddler? The
I don't know, Jason. It could have been.
seems like it something like
it was crazy though how quick downtown
It went down and then
because
came
when
back.
Brian and
Yeah.
I were in college,
When we got here, it was off
you.
limit.
Who had a hiccup?
But behind
Mark B.
Toots's,
Sanders.
what used to be an alley between Toots's and the Opry.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And
It's still kind of
a lot
an
of
alley.
winos hung out there. So Mark he wrote this song called "It's a Matter of Wine," and so I was recording Mel Tillis. He was one of the first acts, right? Alabama and then Mel, and we recorded that song. And
It's a matter of
I had a roommate. I was living at the Haystack off of Haywood Lane, and my roommate was Tommy Collins,
Tommy Collins.
who wrote a lot of songs for Merle Haggard, as you know.
yeah.
And he was a real funny guy. And he told me this story, and I'm sure it's true. And I don't know if that is how Mark wrote his song or not, but Tommy said that he had been a guest on the Opry and was coming through the alley to Toots's, and there was a wino, and someone had left a partial bottle of wine in the window, on the windowsill, and the wino picked it up and finished off what was in the bottle, looked at it and said, "Not a great wine, but a good wine."
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
That's funny.
Oh my God! Yeah, Tommy Collins, what a character!
Yeah, he was a
So
character.
pissed off preacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those were good days. That was my first paying job.
Not great days, but good days.
that was your
That wasn't a great day.
what
Yeah.
what were they paying you?
Not much. I guess I wasn't worth much. No, we made good. When I came here, I was already
What year
doing
was
a
that?
lot of commercials and
71.
jingles.
71?
71.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I had been in Memphis 3 or 4 years doing the same thing. And when I met Scotty, he said, "Why don't we do in Nashville what you're doing now?" I said, "Well, I don't know, And so he knew a man in Maryville who owned a bank, whose name was Buck Williams. And so Buck underwrote the idea for he and Scotty were friends, and he put up the money, and we started a jingle company called the Nashville Tower.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of jingles with the Four Guys, and Larry Keith, who played in a band called Fallen
Fallen
Rock.
Rock, Johnny Slade,
Johnny Slade.
Yeah.
And there was another
Steve Pippen.
Steve, and who else?
Oh, in Fallen Rock, was Jeff Silbar? I don't know if Jeff was in there. But I know it was Larry Keith, Steve Pippen.
I think Steve Pippen wrote some of the jingles,
Yeah.
as I recall. During that.
Well,
He
those
was a
are names-
talented
Steve
guy.
Pippen.
Steve was a great
Those
Yeah,
are
he-
names
yeah,
I
he
hadn't
was a
heard
good
in
guy.
years.
Yeah.
That was
So that's when we were renting enough studio time at the time that we could justify building a studio, for what we were paying rental time every month, we could own our own place. So that's when we built the first studio, and it was actually called Nashville Sound Studio at that time.
Nashville Sound.
Yeah, it was a former air conditioning place, and Ben Hall
Must have been a cool
Ben
place.
Hall.
came
very
in
cool.
and did the design, and I guess was the first quad studio in Nashville.
Oh, Ben.
It was a quad setup,
I remember when Quad.
which turned out to not be all that great.
Yeah.
But
That's so good.
Ben had a great statement about Quad because it was when like Quad 8 tracks and stuff were coming out, and Ben in his old ways, he said, Quad for people with 4 years.
Yeah.
yeah, and you had to be right in the middle of the room. And
Yeah.
it had a lot of disadvantages.
Sort of like your-
It was kind of like us. We had a 40-track machine and
what I was
a
gonna say.
16-track console.
We can't get all this.
you might not overdub, but overkill.
That's funny.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, it didn't survive. There were 42 studios in town when we built that studio,
Really.
which is not that many because now there's probably 200 or 300.
One in every
Yeah,
bedroom.
That's right, and so it worked out in the end because I met a man named Sheb Woolley who was
Chef Woolley.
very successful actor in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And was on Rawhide with Clint Eastwood for 13 or 14
Yeah.
seasons. And
His daughter, Christy Woolley.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So he came in and we recorded some sides on Christy. And Sheb and I became really good friends and owned a couple of buildings together on 17th Avenue.
He wrote a tree when I was in the tape room.
Right.
Yeah.
Jim Woolley had a deal at Tree.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Dude, they did
he
say
was a good writer,
Everybody.
and he did a lot of parodies. He did some things that were really great.
Oh, yeah.
And had a hit in the '60s, early '60s, "Flying Purple People,"
That's
People
right.
eaters.
Oh, yeah, that's what it
and
was.
he wrote it and performed it.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
One-eyed, one-horned.
That's what
flying
he was
people
famous
eater.
for.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
he'd
yeah.
come in the building and at Tree when I was there, and he flying purple people eaters, but it was Sheb.
yeah,
then he brought his daughter
Sheb
in.
was one of the most honest men I ever met.
He's a really nice guy.
He was
really,
a great
really
guy.
good
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. He passed away, and we eulogized him out in Hendersonville.
Did you?
Yeah, he lived on the lake out there.
Was Shedd part of that studio at the beginning?
No, not at the beginning. He actually, with his help, we were able to bail it out. We bought it out of bankruptcy and reopened it as the Music Mill.
Oh, that's where that
Oh, is that
began.
where that came
Yeah,
from?
and I had years before that, I had trademarked the Music Mill name and registered it, and so when I opened it as the Music Mill, then a guy in Muscle Shoals had a studio that he called the Music Mill, and I didn't say anything about it until he called me and told me I would have to stop using that name. And then that bothered me, so I just said, no, you'll have to stop using it. So, luckily, I had really, I had done all my
Due
legal
diligence.
things.
Yeah.
So it became the Music Mill, and it's still the Music Mill.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So,
And it was, then we, in '82, we built the log building over on
Yeah.
Royaka Place.
Yeah.
And then it was just, well, it was one of the top 5 studios in the country.
Well, when you put a water wheel in the front of the building, it's going to make an imprint. You know, it's kind of a big
Yeah.
deal.
Well,
Hey,
and-
Harold, why'd you call it the Music Mill in the first place? What was the,
Well, I
where'd
just
it
like
come
that
from?
name.
Just felt good?
Yeah.
I used to, when I was a kid, living on the farm, growing up on a farm, we used to take our corn
To the mill.
to the mill, and it was a big wheel
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was powered by water.
My dad worked at a grist mill when he was in high school. Now he's
Yeah,
not
grist
nearly as old
mill.
as you, but but he did a similar thing. Yeah. He's
So
several years your junior.
all of that, I guess, was part of it. I used to think about that when I was 6, 7 years old,
Right?
milking cows early in the morning and plowing, you know, and all of that stuff. I never thought that one day that would really become something, but
Like
it
your
did.
deal.
Wow,
The
that goes
Music
that far
Mill
back.
is a well respected brand, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Absolutely.
I was actually working for Steve Singleton at Wild Track, so 805.
Yeah.
And I sat in that tape copy room watching the Music Mill be built.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thinking, man, how cool would that be to work with Harold at the Music Mill? And 2 years later, I was over there. That's Larry.
Yeah.
Got to know y'all from Larry coming over, and him and Bucky Lindsay back
Yeah,
then. What a
Bucky
terror!
Lindsay. Yeah, man.
What a terror those two
Yeah,
were.
what a pair.
Wow.
Did you ever hear the story about them going to the lady's house? They're going to go squirrel hunting.
Tell us.
They're going. And that's back when they were both drinking, you know. And they get there and they talk to this lady. They're going to let them squirrel hunt. Well, Larry's been drinking. He's got his gun. They pull up in the driveway. He jumps off out of the RV and shoots this squirrel. It was the lady's pet squirrel. She had raised it from a baby.
He shot
And
it.
they blew it right out of the tree.
Oh, no.
So they packed right up and left. They didn't do any more squirrel.
Oh, God.
Larry.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, the Rev.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Though. It was
One really cool little story was the same day that I produced Tennessee River, which was Alabama's first #1 record. Larry McFadden, who had been Mel's music director for about 18 years, had made a deal with this guy that he had discovered in Vegas in a piano bar, a guy named Lee Greenwood.
No.
So
remember that.
they came in and we cut Tennessee River in the morning. They cut It Turns Me Inside Out in the
great
afternoon.
record.
So that was a great
in
day
the same place.
Yeah,
that was a
that
great day
was
for
a
music.
for the
deal.
music mill. You know?
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
They cut that at the Music Mill.
they did. Yeah.
Wow.
In
That was,
1982.
yeah.
Turns Me Inside Out was one of those records that I pulled my car over the first time.
You
I
and
heard
me
it.
both.
Yeah,
me
see,
too.
It
Me
was
too.
one of those.
You know,
it was like, stop the
it's,
car. I got to listen to this whole song.
My dad got all these records, from the labels when he was
Yeah.
at Billboard, and I remember him driving home when we were in Ohio, and he gave me that record, and I wore that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me both. Oh my.
Another record that I actually stopped my car, like you're talking, was Merle Haggard's "Sing Me Back Home"
Sing me
Oh,
back
God,
home.
yes.
Yeah.
in the '60s.
Yeah.
And when it came on, I was driving. I remember where I was driving. I was going to Callaway Gardens, just north of Columbus, Georgia,
Yeah.
for a broadcasters convention. I was in radio at the time, and that song came on the radio, and boy, I just had to pull off and listen to it.
Yeah.
What a great song.
Yep.
And then a few years ago, when we had the Milltown Music Hall going in my hometown, Marty Stewart came there. I mean, Marty Haggard, and did a performance, and he had a black felt hat, and he looked a lot like Merle, you know. But it was really, really cool. He came out on stage and says, "Now I'm not Merle," you know. But he said, "Merle was my father, and I'm Marty, and I'm gonna try to sing you some of Merle's songs and tell you how they all came about." And he told the story. Merle was actually in prison when he wrote "Sing Me Back Home," and how all of that came about. And it was so well. He was so good. It was so well done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
He was actually in prison when Johnny Cash performed in that.
That's right.
That's right.
What he
That's
did, Folsom?
No, he was
San
in
Quentin. That's right.
San Quentin. That's right. Yeah.
I get my prisons confused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's easy to do when you got so
Well,
many.
I've
of
been
them.
Been to so many.
Yeah, I've been in so many. That's right.
Yeah.
But through
What
through.
about the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I never did hear one of my songs
Well,
on the
one
radio.
that you produced.
Oh, you mean a record?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was really rewarding. Well, the most impactful record that I did back then, I was in Helen, Georgia, for the Oktoberfest, this Germantown up in the Georgia mountains, and I'd spent a lot of time in Germany in my younger years, and I loved Germany, and so I went up to the German Fest, and Old Flame came on. I was riding up the road with my wife and two sons, and Old Flame came on, and I said, "Listen, guys, we got to hear this."
Yeah.
So I did pull over.
Pulled over
with,
again.
with my kids and my wife, and we listened to Old Flame, and it was so good. It was a great.
Lowry.
It was a great record. and
Brilliant song.
I think it was
great
what,
record.
Harlan.
Great song.
Great,
God.
great song.
Yeah.
What was it, Harlan?
Donnie
used to talk
Lowry
about?
and Mac McAnally wrote that song. Well, but
Old Flame.
Yep.
the greatest thing about Tommy Collins was he wrote 3 number 1 songs for Merle, including his first one, "High on a Hilltop,"
Uh-huh.
and then he wrote "Carolyn," and then "The Roots of My Raisin Run Deep."
Wow.
And the coolest thing about all of that was that Merle recorded 28 other songs
Wow.
that Tommy
That
wrote.
Tommy wrote.
That's how good Tommy was. That's how much Merle loved him, and that he proved it all then when he did Leonard, because that was Tommy's real name. And so I
Smiles in the
told him, I
prison
said,
band.
"I want to go meet Merle. I've never met Merle," and he said, "I'll take you out there." And so one Saturday morning, just like today, we went out to Hendersonville, and Merle was there, and he welcomed us graciously, and especially Tommy. And Merle had guitars everywhere, and we all got a guitar and sat down, and Merle started playing and singing, and we played for about 2.5 hours.
Cool
And that
is that?
was the highlight
man.
of my.
That's a big time deal. That's
Yeah, that is way
That's as big
cool.
as it
kind of a big deal.
It was well. It was for me, you know.
I can't imagine what else you could want.
Hey, I'm glad Merle got to hear you play.
Yeah.
It was sweet of
Well, he
you.
wanted to sign me, but
I get it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
My dad was a DJ, I'd said before, and I remember, back then you had the package shows, right? It was like Merle, Willie, everybody was together. And they all got on the bus together. They all traveled together, before all of them were huge. Well, back then they had these thing. I'd found these pair of, they were shoe boots. They were cowboy boots, but they came below the ankle, right? And they were blonde colored.
did they have a zipper in them?
Nope, they were slip-ons. But But I'm standing backstage because, you know, my dad's emceeing. I'm standing backstage and I hear this voice. There sure are some looking boots you got. And I turn around because I was like 11 or 12. I turn around. It's Merle.
Yeah.
It's Merle. And he starts laughing. I look down. He's got the same boots on.
Oh, wow.
It was just, but I'll never forget that voice in back of me. Those sure are some looking boots you got there,
Boy.
Wade, another good Alabama event in the beginning, when the first album was released, the four guys owned a nightclub on Lafayette, on the road where the old Sears building was up on the right. Maybe it was Murfreesboro Road.
Right, yeah, right there.
Probably by the time you got that far out.
Yeah, so we were having a showcase Alabama that night, and they came on and did an incredible show, and some things that I'd never heard before, including "Feel So Right."
Feel So Right.
That's the first time I had ever heard that song, and I'd heard, I thought all of Alabama's stuff up to that point,
They
but
held out on you.
and well, it impressed me so much. The next morning, we were in the studio at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
recording "Feel So Right."
Really?
So
Wow.
it was it and Old Flame.
Big deal.
They fueled that second record, and
Yeah,
it
they
sold
changed the game.
4 million copies just
Wow.
like in no time.
So, you know, Harold, it brings something to mind. How did you feel the first time you heard one of my songs on the radio?
I felt good.
Did we ever hear one of your
I
songs?
felt good.
I've never heard one of his songs.
Well, Brian, you have been involved in some really great stuff. You know. All you guys have, you know.
You know, I was thinking
Anytime
about
you hear your friends' stuff, you're happy for that.
It is
you know.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
We joked about.
I
you
know it. We do.
When
We
you
do.
when you made records, people knew you made them.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, for sure.
We were like on the secret army in the background.
I was thinking about it. I've worked for Rick Hall. I've worked for Bob Beckham. I've worked for Buddy Killen twice. I worked for Donna Hilly. I'm kind of pissed off you never hired me.
He had just fired you.
He would have just fired me.
Yeah. So I tell you, let's
I
put it
wasn't
this
even
way.
on your
I
radar.
really wanted to, but Chuck talked me out of it.
And then you fired him, right?
You should really, just to make him feel better, would you just
Yeah, and I
fire
got
him
to
right
think
quick?
about
Could
it.
you
so
hire
I
me
hired
now
him
and
back.
then fire me?
I went and hired him back the
Then I
next
can say I
day.
worked for Harold Shedd too.
I said maybe Chuck was
I
right.
worked for Gary Morris. I've worked for all of them.
Yeah.
And man, I tell you what, Beckham was he was a fun point. You guys really built the business at a really, really important time. I mean, because the 80s hit and the 90s hit. But, I was thinking about it one day. Ronnie Gant and Bob Beckham and Noel Nutt and I were out playing golf. All right. And so we're on the green and we're putting. And Beckham's got a cigarette and he's got a drink. And he sets them both down. And he hits his putt. Oh, shit. I missed it. I was fighting and shit. And, he putts it around a few times. And he goes back to his cart, and I pick up his cigarette, and Noel picks up his drink. And we take him to him, and he goes, "Well, shit, son, I didn't know I needed 2 caddies for my vices." I mean, that's the classic character that you guys, all carried with you.
Well, Beckham was so great,
He-
and so was Bill Hall,
Yeah.
and so was Buddy Killen. All those guys you mentioned they were a part of what made all of this happen.
Absolutely.
They did. Yeah.
Along
100%.
with Owen Bradley and
Yeah.
Chet Atkins and some other guys.
Henry Hurt.
Henry Hurt.
Yeah,
Henry
great.
was great.
He fired Chuck.
There's another guy fired.
Work that one off.
Bob Beckham, I remember one of the big things when I was an intern with at House of Gold, Bob Montgomery, basically tape copy guy, whatever. Yeah. And I remember Beckham refused to split publishing.
Oh, he would not. You
would
didn't
do an
write
every
outside.
other. he would do an every other with you, where you guys take
You
this
get
one.
that one,
Well, I'll
but-
have 100% of the next one.
He's like,
but he
I'm-
would
Can
not.
you imagine?
He said, I'm the best riders in town. Why would I split it?
Yeah,
right.
And
Yeah.
he's like, you're not riding outside of this house. You know, I
You
mean,
know, Al
period.
Cooley.
Oh,
Al Cooley.
God. I thought
Yeah.
about that last night too. I'll tell you a funny story.
Al
I was
Cooley.
in the tape
a
room
good
at
song
Tree,
guy.
and I think I was in the tape room at Tree, and John Michael had his first #1 over at Atlantic with Rick Blackburn and Al Cooley, and I had been. Oh no, I'll tell you what. I was at Cimarron with Mason Cooper.
Yeah, Cimarron.
Right behind
Cimarron,
you,
I remember
right behind you, at the Mercury Building, and and so we go into this #1 party in the front lawn at the Atlantic Building. You know, remember right there across the street from actually Hori Pro,
Yeah.
right over there in that house where Blackburn was, and I'd been taking 2 tapes to Al Cooley and 2 tapes to Rick Blackburn of the same song, you know, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I take him over there. And so Dad calls me up and he says, look, there's a John Michael #1 party over at Atlantic. Why don't you come over with me? I said, okay, that'd be great. I'd like to meet Al.
Yeah.
And so I go in there and we're in the front lawn and Dad goes, well, that's Al Cooley. So I go over there to meet him. I said, hey, Al, I'm Jason Morris, and, you know, I just wanted to introduce myself. And he said, you have got to stop bringing me 2 copies of every song and giving it to
just
Rick
like
Blackburn
Cooley.
too, because it's my job. And he starts screaming at me in the middle. I mean, he's yelling at me in the middle of this party. I've never been so happy to see my dad. He walked up, he said, Al, have you met my son Jason? And I went, be in my office at 10 o'clock on Monday morning. We're going to have a meeting. I was like, thank you so much.
Hey, do you remember what John Michael #1 it was?
Yeah, it was a Frank Myers song, the big one.
Or the one they had the double on? I had the second double.
Yeah, no,
I Can
It
Love
was,
You Like That. I Can Love You Like That was the copy of the one he did, which was the same thing. All for One had a #1,
Yeah,
and John
that's-
Michael
yeah,
had a
exactly.
#1.
That's
What
the-
the hell was the name of
I
that
can't think-
song? It was a much bigger song than
Swear.
mine was. I Swear.
I Swear.
I Swear. That was
I
yes.
swear. That
That
was
was
a
a
good
biggie.
Big pop hit after that, too.
Yes, it was.
huge.
And then we had the next one. It was funny because you're talking about Cooley.
one. Now, Brian,
So-
were you at Lyric Street ever?
No, they answered to me, but I never did work there.
He
Yeah,
was
I got
L.A.
So, because I was in L.A.,
That's
all
right.
their, it was, I think there might have been some resentments about that because all their
Yeah.
money flowed through my department.
I got you.
Yeah, I got bonused on it, but I didn't ever have to do any work.
That's good. That's good.
That was Randy was there, right?
Randy
Yeah,
was at the
Randy.
record company.
Yeah, he was at
and
the
then I
record
was
company.
I got the publishing income.
Yeah.
So. I did do one of those things though at the ASCAP Awards at the Ryman one night where I flew down here. And everything would have been fine except I was with Jason and Ryan Cook the 2 days before. I lost a day completely.
Yeah, we
I was
all
at the
lost
Lowe's. I remember waking up at the Lowe's Vanderbilt
Oh,
Hotel
gosh.
in room 1916 because I always stayed in the same room. And
I remember.
and I woke up and I was like, wonder what day it is because I'm pretty sure I was supposed to go to the ASCAP
Well-
Awards. So I did go and I did meet the writer on stage and shook his hand when I was accepting his
Yeah.
award. Yeah,
I'll tell you, it was
first
great.
time I met him. Yeah, he was a nice young man.
It was great whenever Brian came to town because he'd call us all up and we'd all meet at the Lowe's in the bar and sit there and just, you know, drink our faces off. And he'd go, all right, let's go. And we'd go down to Ruth's Chris.
Yep.
And there'd be 10 of us, 15 of us, and get what you want. And he'd buy us all dinner. And then we'd go back to the bar
Yeah.
and drink some more.
Yeah.
And it was,
That's the
but
biggest
I'll tell you that-
expensive cat I ever saw.
I was
it
one
was,
of-
it was,
I
it's
did have-
impressive.
I had technically speaking, I didn't have a limit on my expense account.
I'd say
Yeah.
that's right.
And
That's what
I
Ira
just-
told me once. You got an unlimited expense account and you've exceeded it.
yes, exactly. I did. One time when I came down here, my very first time, I think, after I was at Disney, I came down, so it would have been 91, 92, something like that. And I came here, and I'm sure I think I got picked up at the airport. No, I rented a car. So I rented a car for the week, which I never saw except when I parked it at Lowe's and when I
pull
drove
out.
it back to the airport. And I had about $250 worth of taxi cab receipts on
Oh,
my
yeah.
expense report. And my boss back then was Susan. And Susan looked at me and she got back when there were paper expense reports, and it was about that thick. You had to keep all the receipts, and tape them on there, and then write all this stuff on there. So I took it in there, and she looked at me, and she says, "Brian, it says you rented a car here for $163.17, but you got $250 of taxi cab receipts." And she said, "What happened?" I didn't say a word. I just said. And she said, "That was an excellent choice."
I'll tell you, when I was doing A&R for Keith Stegall, I got hired, and he comes in and he gives me a nice salary, comes into my office, and he gives me his black Amex card.
Yep.
And I was like,
"Those are dangerous."
He's like, I said, "That's great." And so I went out, and I had lunch at the Palm with Shannon Hatch and Julie Newton and a bunch of people. And I was like, "I'll get this," and it was like $600 for lunch, because we did drink a bit. And
can we edit bitch out of that? Because Shannon will be offended.
Yeah, she will.
I didn't say bitch. I meant bit.
You said
we drank a bit, and about the end of the month, Keith calls me into his office and he's like, "Give me back the card." I was like, "What?" He goes, "You spent more than the boss." I was like, "Oh, that's not good." I got rejected.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Ira would call me at the end of the month, and he'd be like, "Hey, it's the end of the month. I'm looking at your expense account. You're way under. If you don't go over every month,
They'll take it away.
They'll cut it."
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Ira. So I got Dave Gibson and a couple other guys from the office and their wives. We went to Ruth's Chris. I think we spent about $2,500. Just had a big time. And next morning, I was, "Jason, what the hell do you think you're doing? $2,500 at Ruth's Chris?" I said, "Ira, you called me yesterday." Oh, that's right. I forgot. Bye. It was just that simple with New York and LA.
Yeah. It was honestly true too. That we'd have those conversations all the time, and I had been, I started out working for Rob Galbraith and Ronnie Millsap, so not counting when I worked for Russ, because our expense account was limited.
Yeah.
But
Yours was limited when I worked for Russ. It was very limited.
Russ would pay half our gas.
Yeah.
That's it. I think I got $250
now we know why
every
you
6
never
months.
worked for us.
Yeah, right, exactly. This is
We couldn't afford you.
that guy. It honestly became that way. I was like, it was, but since they didn't pay you worth a damn, they just had to let you eat wherever you wanted to.
Right. That was the deal. Your salary was so low, you got a free expense account.
Yeah, but it was, we worked on stuff, and I would think about it when the time came. Things happened, you know what I mean? It was like I sat one night, and it's just funny to me, but it was I happened to be at the ASCAP Awards in L.A., and Jackson Browne sat down at the table with us, right? And I love Jackson Browne as much as any artist that ever sang a note. He was just one of my favorites. He sat down, and I looked at him. I said, "It's all your damn fault."
You did this.
And he looked at me, and he's like, "What did I do, man?" He's a really nice man. And he said, "Saturate before using, doctor my eyes." I can go on. And he says, "What?" I said, "Well, now I'm picking songs for Hannah Montana." And I'm like, I thought I was getting in the music business, and I was going to be able to work on Jackson Browne records, and I'm over here, picking teeny bopper records for High School Musical. Come on, so somebody throw me something,
It's funny. I was thinking about Chuck, getting fired so many times. Shit, Russ fired me.
I didn't hire you.
Yeah.
You're right. You didn't.
Oh, did you hire it out?
Huh? No,
Did he hire to fire me out?
He hired me, and then the other
My
half.
ex-partner in life and the publishing company for a
Yes.
while.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, ZMG.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't.
That was a
fire
good little company for a while,
him.
until you fired me.
Yeah, I didn't fire him.
I don't think what's funny is I don't think Russ ever fired us.
That's
We might
okay.
have a back pay claim.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Boy, if it's retro, it's going to be good.
You know what? Were you talking about expense when you guys would work with me at a muscle shows? Let's put it in perspective. So I'd come up here. I'd worked all week as an engineer down at muscle shows, audio engineering, and as an electrical engineer. I had 4 or 5 jobs. And I'd come up with a couple $100, $150 cash usually when I came up.
Yep.
I'd meet them at the end of the day. We'd go to close quarters. And you ever see on those nature films where an animal gets injured by a hyena, and also they just come in and start all attacking.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
When I pulled that $150 out at the hotel over at Rock and Roll Hotel, it was the same kind of deal. It was going like that. It was like goldfish eating, you know?
Yeah. And that was, and beer was about $1.75 then. So,
And to make you feel better about firing me, I mean, well,
having it done.
having it done.
Like I killed
The
somebody.
woman that I live with, my girlfriend, also fired me too. So,
I got
but
you.
I did wreck a boat, so that was different.
You wrecked a boat?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
We used to,
if we start
Well,
talking
Russ-
about women firing you,
Yeah.
you think my
that's a
other
whole nother
number is a lot.
I'm pretty sure that's a different podcast.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Speaking of Rick Hall, one of the funny stories of Brian and I, we're going down to play. Well, Russ knew him, so he's playing, but we were playing him some songs, right? I forget what the act he was.
It was at
doing.
Millsap. It was when I was at Millsap by then.
Yeah.
Right,
Because
and I
it was
was
T.G. Shepard.
Right. Who was I? I don't know. Whoever I was working, we were going down and play him some songs. So Rick, he had that thing where
He had that handlebar mustache.
he'd rub his thing, and then he'd like put his hand on there and
He'd rub it.
smell his thing, and we're playing the song, and he's doing all this stuff, right? And Brian leans over to me and says, "Does he like the song, or does he want us to steal second?"
It was like signals from the coast.
I about fell out of the damn chair.
did the same thing.
And it's right in the middle of the song, and Rick's like, "Hey, you boys are funny, ain't you?" And I'm like, he had
Was
no
he in the
clue.
barber chair? Was he in the barber chair that he had in his office?
yeah.
He was sitting on a chair and he would sit there, but he was doing he did it in rhythm. It was kind of like,
Oh, yeah, it
he
was
would do
fun.
like this,
Kick,
flip,
roll,
arm,
right, sniff,
drop,
yeah,
big.
arm, flip, twist, under, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he wants us to steal second.
I'll tell you what's funny about that is just yesterday, Mark Hall called me.
Me
And,
too, as a matter of fact, yesterday.
Did he call you back?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you talk about Elvis and Achy Breaky and how big that was. Mark wrote, "I Like It, I Love It."
Oh, yeah.
Love it,
And
I like
we were talking about that again yesterday. I mean,
That's worked out.
And it worked out real well for him, except for the fact that Rick told him that if he didn't give him the publishing on the song, he was going to disown it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it broke Mark's heart.
I remember that because
Did he
wrote
later
that
inherit
with,
it when Rick died?
He wrote that with Steve Dukes, right?
Steve Dukes and
Jeb Anderson.
Jeb Anderson, yeah. And that was right when I got to Fame. That thing got cut, and it was
Johnny Slade.
it was huge. I mean, huge.
That was a huge record.
Still a huge record.
I mean, I don't know if there was any achy breaky, but it was a pretty
Yeah.
damn big record.
There are not very many
big.
achy breakies.
It was a big one.
Yeah.
They did good on that record, yeah.
I love this.
I do too. I love this. It's
Feel important.
well, no, it's got just memories of stuff, and then you've got you. I mean, that's just monumental. I mean, you built this.
You
car.
remember Sutton, Glenn Sutton?
Glenn Sutton,
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
I went with Doyle over one Saturday. He invited Doyle, and I happened to be with him. Said some FUBU of the jungle or some kind of damn Tarzan stuff. We went over to Sutton's house, and he had on those little khaki shorts and boots and a pith helmet. And he sat there, and we watched Tarzan and another, some guy of the jungle. I don't remember. But he was a character.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
man.
I'll tell you, speaking of characters, back when the Headhunters were happening, when that was all going on, I was in the tape room at Tree once again. And do you remember?
By the way, it wasn't his job. He just liked hanging out there.
No, it wasn't my job, actually. But you remember Mac Vickery?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Mac comes in with a leather vest on, no shirt, and a Viking hat. And he said, "I need you to make me these songs on a tape. I'm going to go pitch to the Headhunters." And he thought he was like part of the band, I think. But he's got this Viking hat on with these horns, this metal helmet, and it was just the weirdest deal. I was like, okay, whatever you need, Mac.
Yeah.
Boy,
And
Mac was a
he was a
He was a
nutball.
character. Yeah.
he
Yeah,
was
I forgot
definitely
about
a
him.
character.
Oh yeah,
That's wild.
Atlanta James.
yeah.
Who?
Yeah, he was.
Atlanta James.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
No.
Elmer Fuddpucker,
Elmer Fuddpucker.
and Atlanta James.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
And a lot of times, he had an office downstairs. David Lowe did, and he hung out a lot. And some days, he would have this beautiful suede, double-breasted black blazer and a captain's hat.
Right,
like he had just stepped off of a yacht. So, Mac was a character.
Matt was a.
I can remember the
he
Hall
was
of
a cool
Fame,
guy.
The Hall of Fame hotel. He'd do little
Oh, yeah.
and you'd go in the bathroom, and he'd be in there changing in the stall, and he'd be
Exactly.
cussing and dropping shit, and then jump up on stage
that's
and
so
do a
funny.
couple of
Matt was
songs.
a piece of
but
work.
but it gave it. His drinks were free,
Yep.
No, there you go.
3 for 1.
free for one.
Remember?
for one,
Do you remember O'Charlie's? That was over
yeah.
there. And
Well,
they
yeah.
had 3 for 1 every afternoon after 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And my dad and I'd meet over there and sit there and just have screwdrivers for hours.
I can remember there used
And
to be
everybody was there.
the Red Caboose right across from the church
Yeah.
here in West End. And
Yeah.
when I was in college, they had nickel beer night. And they were a nickel and they were the big cups. And we would just buy like 5 trays of them.
Yep.
And sit there and
Wait.
Yeah. And then walk back to Belmont.
Me
or
and Chucky,
Stagger kind of.
one time when Chucky and I lived on Blair Boulevard, so we lived at like Blair, 1906 B Blair, and I'm saying Chuck lived there, and I'm being generous, but
I slept on the couch.
he was the couch dweller.
Couch dweller.
So we were in college. I was still in college. He was doing some postgraduate studies.
Yeah.
But the
I actually got a job.
post-quitting studies.
You got to
Yeah.
graduate to do post.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah. Then he was just quit. But Chucky and I would walk down to Brown's Diner because they'd still pay off on the pinball machine.
Oh, that's right.
Right? So we'd go in there, and if you only had like $4, just play pinball because they'd give us free draft beer,
Right.
but they're not going to give you a free cheeseburger. If we won, we got a cheeseburger. If we
we
lost,
didn't,
we just got free
Back to the
beer.
house.
Or was it Don and Frank?
Yeah.
Don, Graham, and Frank. What was his name? The British singer who's just he was a brilliant singer. I can see his face. He actually lives in Old Hickory now, but he's mostly lives in London. But he's a brilliant little
Not
guy.
Tony.
No. He was great friends with Tony, but Frank was. They both worked in the kitchen at Brown's Diner, and they were buddies of ours.
Oh.
But they were back then. They've both been sober for 35, 40 years now. But it was back then they would do hallucinogens, and would be standing back there, and we'd go in there, and Don Graham would say, "No cheeseburgers today, boys. The shit just kicked in."
It's back to the Rick Hall thing. I'm not touching anything. Eat anything he touched. Yeah.
Hey, did you ever do any? I know you worked with Buddy Cannon, but what about Nora? Nora Wilson.
We co-produced Shania Twain's first
That's
album.
exactly right.
Oh, look at that.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah.
I was still there then.
Actually, Nora
Was that at Fireside or did you do it at your place?
we did it at my place.
Yeah.
Nora had, when she first came to town, her manager, Mary, was friends with Dick Franks.
Right.
And I was on the board of directors of the CMA at the time, and Dick was the counsel for the CMA. And so he told me one day that said, Noro did a demo on this young lady from Canada, and I want you to listen to it if you would. And so I said I would. And one of the things, actually 2 of the things that Noro had done, I thought were so good. I used them on the first album.
All right.
And I told Nora, I said, I want you to help me do this album because I want to use a couple of things you've done. I like what you did. And one of them was it was a single, You Lay a Whole Lot of Love on Me. Mm-hmm. Con Hunley had a record on it.
I remember the song.
But Shania sang it really, really good.
She did, yeah.
And so he and I did her first album. It had What Made You Say That? and
Tony Hazel and Stan Muncy.
Yeah.
Dance with the one that brought you.
Dance with the one that brought you. Yeah.
And Sean Penn did the video.
That was a
for
tree
that.
song, actually. Dance with the one that brought you.
Yeah, it was good stuff. We did the first video at Panama City. Yeah. What made you say that?
Yeah. Man, I remember seeing that video. I'd been around Shania all those years at the Music Mill, saw her, every week, and never saw her like I saw her in that video.
Yeah.
She had, when they had the silhouette in that dress dancing on the beach. And
Oh, man.
Oh, my. I even told her, I just never seen
Yeah,
her
you
like
could
that.
tell.
I'll tell you what.
knew she was a star.
When she first moved here, she was living out in Bellevue in this in these apartments that I used to crash the pool all the time. I'd go over there, and one day, it's her and me at the pool, and I went, "Who are you?" I pulled a Roger Miller.
But I enjoyed meeting Mutt.
Oh, Mutt.
He was
yeah,
cool.
Mutt
Mutt was a cool guy.
Yeah.
He was cool.
just
Yeah,
This was pre-Mutt.
He met her at the mill when we were
Yep.
doing our first record.
and I remember because it was a CMA week or fanfare, and he ended up going out to the show. We hung out, back then. Remember how much fun fanfare
Yeah.
was at the racetrack, hanging out back there behind on the tent.
A little warm, but it was nice.
Yeah.
She had
Lots of beer.
she had been riding and got real upset because I didn't do more of her songs, but I did do 2 of them, and but the majority of her songs were, I felt, incomplete, unfinished, and they were because when Mutt became co-writer on all of them, they became something.
Yeah,
totally
it became
different,
something.
Yeah, that's
I remember
true.
being backstage at fanfare, and my friend Mike. You guys remember Mike the cop, the bodyguard
Yeah,
kind of guy?
yeah.
And so he was like her guy, and so I'm standing back there by the steps by the stage, and they come out of the trailer, and she's coming at me, and things are moving and things are looking really good.
Yeah.
And Mike is my friend, and he forearms me and moves me out of the way. I was like,
That was probably just your tongue.
truly, I think it was. I mean, he looked at, he laughed so hard, and he puts her up on stage, and he comes back and goes, "I'm sorry."
Man, I remember one of my favorite Shania stories still, I've told it a bunch of times, was we had a Music Mill day when Harold had his boat. We all went out on his boat. We're cruising out in the lake, and Shania was out there because she was one of us. I mean, she
Yeah.
just hung out at the mill
Hanging
so
out.
well before she had a record yet.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we were sitting in the boat and hanging out and having fun and drinking, and Harold was pulling out in the middle of the lake and was going to throw out the anchor and let us jump in the water and everything. And Shania had been sitting there all day, actually next to me, and she, as I remember, she had on like a men's cotton shirt that hung down to her knees though.
Beautiful.
But she was just one of the girls I never, Well, so we all decided to jump in the water. Well, Lisa Ramsey, that works with you guys all know, had gotten a bunch of those in those days, those throwaway cameras you could get. You sent the film in, little
Disposables.
Kodaks, but they were also waterproof and plastics. It gave everybody want to take lots of pictures. So anyway, a bunch of the guys jumped in the water and we're floating on things. We're sitting there and, got cameras and everybody's shooting pictures, a bunch of people in the water floating around. And I was one of the last ones to go in, and Shania gets up and takes that shirt off. Mm-hmm. Let me say it again. And takes that shirt off.
I just like
You
saying
never
it.
saw her that
And
way.
got on a bathing suit, and instead of jumping in, she gets in the ladder and walks down slowly into the water. And we made jokes about Tony Hazel's the one that tells it the best because he was in the water.
Looking at you.
He said, yeah. He said, man, 2 weeks later, we're looking at Paris. I never saw so many pictures of a woman's butt in my life.
Everybody taking her.
Yeah. It was funny. It was funny. She was a great person. She was fun.
She's
to hang out
okay.
with,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so fun. I remember when I was sitting, Susie Bogus was playing a show, and this had to be the early 90s, maybe even the late 80s, because she was playing at Universal Amphitheater, and Doug Kreider was there, who'd been our next door
Kreider,
neighbor and
yeah.
a good friend. And so he called me, says, you got to come down to the show. And I went down to that show, and there's some little 19 or 20-year-old girl sitting on a just a case, an anvil case backstage. And I'm standing there with Doug, and I'm like, who in God's name is that? And he said, she's some new artist on Warner Brothers. I think Faith Hill is what she goes by, not a real name. And I thought, she's cute for a girl. But it was the same thing, later, many, many years later, it was funny. I told her that story.
She was married to Daniel, wasn't she?
She was married to Daniel
they
first,
lived
which
on
is,
Belmont.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's when she got the name.
I see him all the time.
Yep, and then she traded up a couple times, but
A little bit.
yeah, it worked out. He likes it, he loves it, he wants some more of it. That's all I know. But
All I can tell you.
but it is true. You think about this, meeting people like 10 years before they're big stars.
Oh, yeah.
But my favorite one, and I'll never call this guy's name, but there was a banjo player, and he was signed to Warner Brothers, and Chuck and I met him, and I can see his face still, but Warner had signed him, and it was probably just a demo deal or something, but if you met him in a bar, you'd think that he had just landed the largest contract in the music business history.
I do remember.
And he was, I feel like his name was Dennis or something like that, but he was...
Johnny Slayton and Dennis, what was it? Because blonde hair, looked like he was out of the Civil War.
And he had a little bit of that blonde hair mullet thing going
Dennis
on and
Young.
played. Yeah.
Dennis,
I can see his face, but I just can't call his name. But the
Banjo.
funny thing, he was there. He was a banjo guy basically, and I'm sure he was a very interesting artist. I have no idea. I never heard from him again, but he did deliver me a pizza about 6 months later. And I didn't call it up.
Domino's.
Yeah, when he brought me the Domino's pizza, I remember that day looking at him going like, well, I'm just going to look down and just take my pizza, tip him $5 and go on with my
that's
day.
good.
Right.
I remembered the promotion guy,
Oh,
Babaloo.
No.
Do you remember Babaloo?
Wasn't that a dance? The
No, but his
song
name
or
was
something?
Babaloo.
No,
He was
that's
a
something
promotion
I'm
guy.
thinking
He
of.
was in the top of the old Capitol
I don't know who
building
that
up there.
is. Babaloo.
Was it Martinovich? Was it Martinovich?
Huh?
Mike Martinovich was.
No.
Babaloo.
Mike was a great guy, too.
Yeah, Mike was.
Yeah. He was marketing though.
Harold, I love the records that you did on Reba too. The the
yeah.
Harlan Howard "Somebody Should Leave."
Yeah,
That was a
yeah.
great,
That's a brilliant
great
record.
Yeah, that was her second #1 record.
It's How Blue was
How
it the
Blue
first?
was the first one. Michael Heaney wrote that song.
Michael Heaney, that's right.
Golly, hadn't heard that name.
And Harlan wrote Somebody Should Leave.
Yeah.
How many #1s did you actually produce?
I don't know.
I mean, have you ever taken
The
account?
fact that he doesn't know it's great.
I know. I don't know.
So cool, right?
700.
Well, I guess maybe
200-300.
30 or 35.
Really?
No, it's more than
No,
that.
you had that on Alabama.
I was
right?
going to say that was Alabama alone.
No, I had 21 on Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, he remembers that.
Well, yeah, and how many? But you start going through it,
In a
okay? And then you had some with
In a row.
Reba. You had 2, 3.
Yeah, I had Reba.
Headhunters. You had
Mel and
Mel.
Yeah.
Glenn.
Glenn.
Had a #1 on Glenn.
So we're getting into the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, thinking more like 100.
Or 100.
Well, you're safely in the high 30s.
What was?
And KT
yeah.
Okay.
And there was that.
had several on her.
Yeah.
So you ever
Toby?
want to go
Yeah,
back in
Toby.
there? You want to
Toby.
Toby.
You ever want to
Toby.
go back in there and do it
Yeah,
again?
I did his first 7
Yeah.
#1s.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
First 7.
approaching 60 something right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like the sentence. I did his first 7 #1s. That's a good sentence.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to say that about anything.
Yeah, what is the greatest hits?
I haven't done that since I potty trained my oldest kid.
Glenn's last
I did his first 7 #1.
Glenn's
He
last
got the hang of it right after that.
compilation. I have 6 on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you,
including Call Home. It's on.
oh, yeah, that's right. Do you ever want to go back in there and do it again and produce another?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Do you?
Yeah.
Would you really?
There's nothing like the
I may
feeling,
do that.
right? There's just nothing
Like
like
to
the
say, I'd be
feeling.
surprised if there wasn't something in the
Hey,
works.
let's find us an act.
Yeah, kidding.
Chuck, can you sing?
You know what?
Hell no, but I was asked
The
all,
guru,
from the
we're
first
looking
4
for
years
one
I was
now.
here.
Yeah,
What's that?
we're
Please tell
trying
me.
to find one now, as a matter of fact. Yeah. You know what? I'd like to also have Harold at least one more time and all of us be in the control room when he goes, can you come in here for a second?
We got a problem. You can't sing.
I was laughing about that last night. I was like, you can't sing.
We have a problem.
And then point out that it's not him on the demo
It's
tape.
not- And by the way, that's
What
not
kind
you.
of kahunas do you have to have
Yeah, right? To get
a
signed.
deal
Yeah.
on somebody
You know,
else's?
there was nothing like doing and you know when you got a really
Yeah, you
good
know.
one,
Yeah.
and go play it
Oh, you
for
know.
your friends,
Yeah.
and they like it.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Then you know, yeah. Russ was the greatest at that. If Russ liked it, I was okay with it.
That's great. That's
Good.
That's
It's a
huge.
good sign, right?
Well,
That's
Montgomery
big.
used to say,
Yeah,
play it
I
for
mean-
your worst enemy.
Right, yeah.
Because if they like it, you know you might have something.
Well, counting
He'd,
going through
he'd
Chuck,
tell you
you
if
know?
you liked it or not.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
I remember one time when Millsap had just finished the Lost in the 50s album, went on to sell 2 million records, his last really big record, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was when Chuck was working for you, and he came over to the office one day, and we sat there with Rob Galbraith. I think Reed might have been in
Yep.
there too, and we sat there and we listened to the whole record. You know, he had Glenn Meadows
Glenn.
mastering. They were
The
the
pancake.
he did it just had the pancakes. They weren't done yet, right? So he brought it up there.
The mother.
We're young guys, and we sat and we listened to it all the way through. And Chuck said, "Man, that's cool." Galbraith said, "You just listen to that 6 months of work, and you think it's
Cool.
Nice job, Chucky.
yeah. It's like saying your daughter
One of my
seems real
longers.
nice. Right? Your daughter's got a lovely personality."
He's got a lovely person.
That was a tough room, though, because I remember the first time I walked in that room one time with Mike Reed, Rob Galbraith, and Ronnie, and I walked in there and they said, "Oh, I just heard the funniest thing ever." At which point the place went dead silent, and Mike Reed said, "Boy, this better be good."
This better be good.
That was a tough room.
Mike Reed, what a great storyteller he was. You know,
Oh,
I mean,
my God.
like
What a
his-
great guy.
You know,
You know
in
what?
his life story, the story I always loved about him was, you know, he was badass, All-American at Penn State.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
then he goes to the pros. They're playing the Jets,
Yep,
and
it
it's
was a
Joe
Jet.
Namath.
Yeah, he sacked Joe
Yep.
Namath.
And he sacks Joe Namath, and Joe Namath reaches his hand up for me, and he says, "I get paid to knock your ass down, not pick you up." And he walked back to the huddle. As a rookie, he said he did that, and he said everybody on the thing were like, "Man, you know that's Joe Namath."
You know that's
yeah.
that was a big deal.
So your first 21 number ones with Alabama was consecutive?
Those were consecutive.
Holy
Is that
God.
the longest run still?
Yeah.
I think
It's
it is.
gotta
I
be.
believe that would be very difficult
Yeah,
to
it'll
imagine.
be difficult to top that.
I think it would be hard.
I mean, only
It's the modern
I don't
era.
think-
might be able to do it.
There's been 17, and
yeah.
then there was 14
21 number
but not
ones
21.
In a row.
consecutively.
in a row.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Hey, Harold,
You should buy an old antique car or something to celebrate.
Can I borrow some money?
Harold, I remember, and I don't know if this is something that you came up with, and I've always wanted to ask you this, but when digital was just first coming out, I remember you would combine that old 32-track digital 1-inch, and then you would record drums and bass on the Studer 24
2-inch.
analog.
That's right. That's right.
And mix it down together.
That's right.
And that's what gave that huge feel,
Fat bottom.
man.
Good.
Fat bottom girl, you know.
Yeah, man.
But it did. I mean, I'll never forget. I was sitting there that day. I remember looking, and they brought it in, and you know, God, we'd all never seen anything like that. 32
Yeah,
tracks.
actually, we did it. We experimented a lot with our sound. We wanted it to sound good, but maybe a little different, you
Right.
know. And you could do that with some of the old analog stuff, like the old 601 Ampex I was telling you about.
The suitcase.
Just put it on the rim shot or something.
Yeah.
You know, like, boy, ooh.
That's a good sound.
Yeah. How'd you do that, you know?
I remember when
I remember Chuck and I learned how to cut tape together because he helped me learn how to when we were, you think about this. When we first were song pluggers, we had to edit quarter inch.
Absolutely.
And they just bring it up in the
Leader.
demos, and we
Throw the
have
leader
to
in.
Leader
had
tape,
to leader it
tape.
and and tape it and all that kind of stuff. And I remember learning how to do it, and
That
then we
blue
messed
tape.
around. You could play stuff backwards and stuff. Analog was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Analog was fun.
Waka waka waka.
Yeah, right. It's-
It was. It was.
We
exactly.
used a lot of special stuff on the first album, actually, My Home's in Alabama. And Jeff was really playing great guitar. Jeff was a good player, He could play guitar. He could play keyboards. He could play fiddle, He was
Talented.
He was multi-talented. And he had My Home's in Alabama, The Breaks. He played some really great licks, some of that, and Feels So Right, all of that stuff. And
Man, I'll never forget when
I used to, I knew Larry Butler really well, and Larry was one of the greatest music men, ever in Nashville,
Amen.
as far as I'm
He was
concerned.
pretty good.
He was great.
Yeah.
And he played great.
Yep.
And he loved songs. And he had a saying, give me a great song and I'll make you a great record.
Yeah,
that
right.
was Larry's thing. So when I talked to him a lot, and I called him, I says, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'm just sitting here, I said, I said, oh, can I come play you something? And he said, yeah. And so we had just finished 80s Ladies.
Oh wow.
And I always played for Larry McFadden, and guys that would tell you, So I took it and sat there, and Larry, he just sat there and he grinned all during and he got through and he said, like I told you, give me a great song and I'll make you a great record. So that was his. That was his thing.
I can do that.
Is-
Oh
yeah.
my God. Larry Butler was
I had
great.
so
miss
much
Larry, yeah.
respect for Larry. Hey, all those B.J. Thomas songs,
Oh my God.
man.
Yep.
Huge.
All those Kenny Rogers, the Gambler.
Well, then he wrote
Lucille.
Hey, won't you play?
Yeah. Somebody done somebody
somebody
wrote
done
a
it.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wrote
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Stan Muncie
man.
story.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell the Stan Muncie story. Tell the one about
Yeah,
the
tell
Forrester
us
sisters.
I love
Yeah.
Stan
Tell the
Muncie.
one about the
You
Forrester.
remember that story, Harold? You remember the Stan Muncie, Larry Butler story? It's before I came to work for you.
No, tell me.
Well, Stan Muncie and I were down in Muscle Shoals, and Stan was working at the Lowry Organ Center selling organs and trying to write songs. We were coming back and forth trying to get songs cut. And so Stan and I decided, you and me, buddy, that's me on top. You and me are together on this thing. You're my publisher, and we're going to do this thing. So anyway, he called me one day, and he said that the woman he worked for over at the Lowry Organ Center was dating this guy named Larry Butler. You know who that is? And I said, no, I don't know who that is. You remember Stan, you know who that is, was? I said, no, I don't know.
What?
So he's a famous producer, and,
Famous producer.
and everything. And Stan had the Elmer Fudd School speech thing. So anyway, and Stan, as we all know, was a great player and a great songwriter, So anyway, he really was. So anyway, he said, well, man, and she's dating this guy, Larry Butler, and he's coming down this weekend, and we're going to go out, Donna and I are going to go out and have dinner with him, and he wants to hear my songs. I'm going to get us some songs cut. And I said, okay, great. So it turned out that he kept talking about it all week and everything. So anyway, so they were going to go out that weekend and hang. So he, after the dinner and stuff that weekend, he came in the next Monday into the studio before he went to work at the Organ Center, and he said, Larry Butler loved my songs. He loved my songs and everything. He said, but he wants a publishing on them, And so I guess, that you and me thing, he said he wants some publishing on them and stuff and everything. And so it turns out that, you remember what was the what was the big studio magazine that came every month? I forget.
Music Row?
No, what would you say?
Mix
Magazine.
yeah.
The Mix Magazine year-end thing had come out or something, and had all the studios, and it has a feature on Larry Butler in there. So I said, well, Stan, I just got this. Check it out. And had pictures with him and, Kenny Rogers and different people. And Stan goes, now Stan would do that thing. He goes, No, that's not him, Wes. I said, Stan, it's Larry Butler. No, that's not him.
That's
I
not
said,
him.
It's Big Magazine. That's him. He goes, that's not him. Well, it turned out that there was a guy that was running around the country claiming he was Larry Butler and trying to fence stolen masters.
Oh, wow.
It was a big deal. So
I remember.
So anyway, so Stan's dad was an attorney down there in Muscle Shoals, and so he had contacted some folks about this guy claiming he was Larry Butler and everything and the whole bit. And so they called. They wanted Stan to get Junior to get this guy on the phone. They were going to tap the phone line, so they were trying to track this guy because it was across state lines. He had fenced some stuff, and it was, I don't know, $10,000-$20,000 worth of stuff. It was some number like that. It was enough that it was a big felony and everything. So anyway, so Stan agreed to do that. So they came over to my little studio that night, and this Larry Butler was supposed to call Stan and everything. Stan was supposed to keep him on the line, And of course, Stan Muncy was mad. He was mad this guy had done this to him, and everything. So the guy calls the studio, and Stan gets on the phone, and his dad's there, the attorney and everything, and they're supposedly tapping this line, trying to figure out where this guy is and everything. And all of a sudden, Stan goes, "You son of a bitch, you lied to me." And keep on the line. Stan hangs up the phone. Well, anyway, they ended up catching the guy, but it was a funny story. Yeah. So years later, I come to work for you at the Music Mill, and Lisa's working there. Remember how tight Lisa was with Larry and his wife and everything, Peggy and everything.
Yep.
And I got to know Larry a little bit. So Stan was on the road with Shenandoah at the time, wasn't in town all the time. So Larry's there one day and Stan's there, and we told Larry the story, and Larry went on to tell us the whole story about how they caught the guy and how the guy had done all this stuff. And we said, "Stan's here. Hey, we got to get Stan to come in and meet you, So Larry couldn't wait to meet Stan. So of course Stan walks in and said, "Stan wants to meet Larry Butler." And Stan goes, "No, that's not him."
That's not him.
That's not it.
You're not Larry Butler.
Oh my God.
I want you to tell the story about Stan in the hospital.
Oh no, I can't tell it. That's another time.
Can you? That's a good one.
That's too long. I'll tell it later.
Harold, one record that I always thought was so cool because you guys had a great way of progressing. They were around so long. You know what I mean? But like, I'm in a hurry, and God rest his soul, Loggins just died. But I'll never forget that session, and you guys recording that song with Dave there, and then when you listen to it now that Scaife's gone too, you can hear him all over that record vocally. Joe Scaife, in the "I'm in a hurry to get done."
Yeah, I didn't do that record.
You didn't do that record? No. I'm sorry. I thought. Who?
No, I think Richard Lee maybe.
Is that who did that?
No kidding.
I didn't know that.
Huh?
I didn't know that. Oh.
He knows that.
Yeah. Well, he remembers everything that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I could tell you didn't do that record. I hated it. I didn't like it at all.
Scaife was all over it.
Why were they in such a damn hurry anyway? These people running around it's crazy.
Trying to get things
Boy,
done.
Dave Loggins,
But that was a good record.
That is a good record. It really was.
But what a writer he was, man.
Dave Loggins?
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
He was funny too.
He'd slap you upside the head, though. When you meet a legend, Please Come to Boston. As a kid, I cried to that record.
Yeah.
Brilliant song. And he literally went in the studio and had to meter it out for her because she couldn't hit it,
You couldn't keep him out of the studio
No,
when you were
no,
cutting
right.
his song.
We went down speaking. You know what? I don't know if you went with me or not. Yeah. Speaking of, we were talking Rick
She
Hall,
wouldn't have made it.
songwriters needing to be in the studio when their song's being cut. One of my favorite ones was Rick Hall was cutting T.G. Shepherd. And Troy Seals and Mike Reed had written this song. And it had a beautiful little lilting little thing in it, and it said you could almost taste the magnolias blooming in the summer sun was the line. Well, T.G. Shepherd, being the Mensa member that he was like, "You can't taste magnolias." And so he had said they called
I love that.
they called Mike and said, "Can we change Mike and Troy?" And they said, "Can we change that? You could almost smell the magnolias." And Mike was like, No, that's not what that doesn't make any sense. You can smell the magnolias.
You can almost taste them.
You can almost taste them. Yeah. Get what I'm doing here? Well, T.G. Shepherd was just like, just could not grasp it as a concept. Right? And so Mike and I drove to Muscle Shoals to sit in the studio when T.G. recorded that song to make sure he did not say smell. in that thing. 'Cause he was so concerned that he was going to. You can almost smell the magnolias. And it's like, oh my God, TG. So the Good
That's it,
Shepherd
yeah.
did not stand. TG did not stand for the genius. That's not what it stood for.
Yeah, the genius. Walt Aldridge was like that too. Walt, whenever somebody kind of waltz on,
Well,
That's great,
it's true.
Walt was like that too. Walt Aldridge would go in, and every time somebody cut something, whether it was,
More than that.
he had to be there to make sure every single word
Yeah.
was exactly right.
Which was tough because he wrote in Latin.
He wrote
And it was incredibly difficult. I had to get Catholic priests to come in.
in Latin.
I really actually
left-handed
liked
backwards.
Latin backwards. It was Walt was great.
Tell
like-
the story about
I love Walt.
Russ.
Where we at?
Tell the story about the intro to the Bob Seger thing.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, that's I saw that online there. You can see it online there. They actually put a thing up about it. About early on, I was doing a demo at the house one day, and Wayne Killis came. I would do tracks with a click, and then I'd have somebody come in playing overdub drums. I had a V drum kit I could trigger. You remember?
Yeah.
And so Wayne Killis came over to overdub. I'm still laughing at you, Joe. Came over to overdub on this track, and he was in a hurry to leave, and I said, let's give him one more pass. I said, I got to go. I said, what's so important? He said, well, I'm getting ready to work with the guy that played the most important piano intro in pop music history. And I said, what's that? And he said, what is it to you? I said, well, for me, it'd be old time rock and roll. Da da
Yep.
da 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 da.
Yep.
It's just so iconic. It's been used in movies and everything. He said, that's it. And I said, well, it can't be. He
He's
said, why? I
dead.
said, because that's Barry Beckett. I used
Yeah.
to work for him, It's,
Yeah.
That was it. And he said, no, it wasn't. It was so-and-so and the Silver Bullet Man. And I said,
No.
it wasn't.
Definitely
and,
not.
And there
Yeah.
was a bunch of stuff in all those days when I worked down there at Muscle Sound, but it wasn't. It was Barry Beckett. And so he said, no, it wasn't. It was this guy. And he said, I'll bet you $100. I said, okay. So we were trying to figure it out, and I'd heard all these different stories that it was Randy McCormick. Remember Randy McCormick?
Oh,
They
yeah.
worked for Barry
Yeah.
too when Barry was on the road
Right.
stuff.
Gosh, Randy.
Well, anyway, the long story is I could go on and drag the story out forever. The bottom line was it was actually Randy McCormick, and the reason was with that song was initially they had done a demo, and when they did the demo for the publishing company, Barry was in Europe doing something, so Randy played that lick. And so years later they came back, and Bob Seger wanted to cut it, and decided to cut the song, went in and cut it with the rhythm section, and was unhappy with it, said it's not as good as the demo. We know that story,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so they came back and they decided to cut it again. Well, Roger Hawkins, the drummer, was gone when they cut it the second time, and they called in James Stroud.
Yeah.
Hence, James Stroud tells everybody he played on that record, and because there's all these people claim they played on that record. Bob Seger again said that didn't work either. Let's go to the demo and update the demo, which they did. Well, that most iconic thing was when they went to go mix it after he did his overdubs on and stuff. Went to go remix it. The guy that engineered the record, Greg, went in to mix it. In the old days, you remember how on the old MCIs, if you track back and forth a lot with the autolocator, it would slip a little bit. Mm-hmm. Well, initially on the very first pass, they only did it once. They didn't do it twice. But after recording and overdubbing so many times, when they finally kept the last take, it didn't go all the way back. So when they took the last take, they did not go over the top of the da from the first pass. There was another one that was on the pass they kept. So anyway, consequently, there's two of them there. Well, Greg had remembered they only did it one time when they did the demo, so he called David Hood, and who was the rhythm section bass player and producer, and said, hey, we've got one of those da-da-da-da-da-da-das from the first pass that's not really part of the record. It's just left from the first pass we did. What should I do? And he said, I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. So one of the most iconic licks of all time was the
Just
flip
got
of a
thrown
coin
in there.
happening twice,
Right.
It's just what a story.
But it did end up being Barry?
No, it was
It was not. It was always Randy McCormick.
McCormick,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't.
Barry was so cool, man. I loved Barry Beckett, and
I loved pitching
him
songs
when
to
he was,
Barry.
when he'd do session work, and back then everybody smoked in the studio or whatever, and he'd
Yeah.
have that cigarette,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the ash would be this
This-
long
yeah.
off of it, and he'd just jamming.
I loved pitching songs to him. He'd come over to Fame, and Carol Ann Mobley
Yeah.
he actually hooked me up with him, and he'd come over to Fame and sit on my couch in my office with his toothpick in his mouth.
Yep.
And he'd sit there, and I'd play a song, and he wouldn't say a thing.
But
And I'm like,
Ever.
I thought he was asleep, and he kind of was actually, but he would just sit there and go, copy,
Yeah.
Give me a copy. You know, but he was like a big old walrus. You know, he just like didn't have
He
much.
was the best guy in the world.
He was a really
Sweet
good
guy.
Great guy. Yeah.
Really good.
Hell of a talent too. Besides being a great guy, I mean, he
really
made
talented.
some great records.
Yeah.
He sure
record.
did.
He played on as many big records as anybody.
Oh yeah.
I was working at NEM, and he came over with this new artist, and this guy was just really not pleasant. And so I'm sitting there, and Barry and I had a great relationship, and you know how it is, new artists, they think they know everything, right? So I played him a few songs, and he'd get maybe into the first line, nah, you know. And so I played him what was Steve Dorff's next record. I just started playing like stuff that Streisand had just recorded, Alabama's next single, different shit like that, right? And he was like, nah, nah, and I just looked over at Barry and I said,
See what
got
we're up
nothing-
against?
I said, I got nothing for this guy. He couldn't hear two fucking trains wreck. All right? And Barry just lost his shit. He said, hey, give me a copy of the number 1 and the number 2. And it turned out that was, what's the island guy?
Kenny Chesney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Kenny.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, I ruined his career. Yeah, I can tell you that.
You showed him.
Yeah, I sure did.
Renee Zellweger did that.
Couldn't hear two trains wreck. I was telling this story the other day about when we used to pitch songs. There was a guy that ended up getting crossways with Toby, as a matter of fact. Told him he couldn't sing and couldn't write songs. Anyway, he was an A&R guy, so we can decide whether you can hear a hit or not if you want now. But anyway, I'd been playing him songs, and all of a sudden I couldn't get a hold of this guy. He wouldn't call me back. And he was an A&R guy at a big label in town. He wouldn't call me, he wouldn't call me. So one day, we were at a function. I saw him all up there and said, hey, man, what's going on? I said, is it something I said? I was just joking. And he goes, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, it was. And I said, oh, my God, well, what? He goes, I'd rather not say. I said, you got to say. I mean, come on, man. You know, he goes, well, I heard you said I couldn't hear a hit if it bit me in the ass. You know? And I said, shit, I probably did.
Yeah.
If you passed on my song, I'm sure I did.
Yeah, we'd all said it.
Yeah, that's what I said. He said, really? I said, yeah, we all say that. It isn't anything personal.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, it really tore him up, you know, and he wasn't going to, I said that about him, he wasn't going to talk to me. He wasn't ever going to see me again, you know. But it is the same guy that told Toby to go home. He couldn't write songs and he couldn't sing. So,
Oops.
Yeah.
And Toby wore him out for a lot of years after that.
I'll tell you another one that was fun was Jerry Crutchfield.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crutch was so much fun. I remember the very first time I ever pitched a song to Crutch, I went over to play some stuff for Tanya.
You better be ready.
Yeah.
Dude, ready is not the word. I played, the first song I played, he listens to the first verse and the chorus, and he pulls it out and throws it at my head. I mean, it just goes flying over my head. And he says, don't ever play me a song with the last line of the first verse is the same line as the first of the chorus. And I was like, well, that takes away this, and this.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Go get some more.
Meeting over. you know? But he did, man. He winged that thing, and it just went
Oh, wow.
right over my head. I was like,
I was real
and we
lucky.
ended up being really great friends later.
Yeah, me too.
You know?
I got a lot of cuss from him, but you know, the secret with that guy was always is that if you pitch him a song a day before he's going in the studio,
There you go.
Yeah.
You get a good
he'd
cut.
pop them out. I'd played him like 3 or 4 songs like the day before, and he cut like 2 of them.
Yeah, right.
And all the stuff I pitched, 6 months before, he didn't even remember, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So it's look how you learned those idiosyncrasies of all those
About
people
each
back
and
then.
every
Yeah,
one,
and every producer, you've got a different
Yeah.
little situation.
Yeah.
You know, it's Crutchfield was a blast.
He
But we-
was, man. He was a great guy.
He was.
I gave him a nickname, and he
You need to tell that story. It's a funny one.
he also was in the car business up in the
Yeah.
little town where he was from, and he said that I said, what kind of, because I'd had a car lot with Bradley down in Franklin. I says, how many cars you have? He said, well, right now we have 40. And he said, in fact, I ain't talking. In fact, said, my partner just called me and said, Rutch, we made $40,000 today. And he said, how'd you do that? And he said, I marked every car up $1,000.
That's great.
and he and Larry Mack, they were kind of buddies.
Yeah.
And we would go to Ashland City to a place called Farley's Smoked Chicken.
Yeah, Farley's. Yep.
Remember Farley's?
I know exactly.
Yeah, we would go, and Norro would go.
Yep.
And they had the greatest food. Norro would,
That's some good
you know,
chicken.
he'd say, "Give me my change in corn." You know? and we would stop. You love this. He's talking about old guys having fun. We would stop at the Maxwell House to have drinks.
This is the one.
Before we went to Farley's. And I would go to the desk and have Crutchfield Page. Except I told the girl one day, she said, who you want to pay? I says, oh, you know, he's a famous heart surgeon. He transplanted the first heart. And he's from Australia. And he actually planted a monkey's heart into a person. And his name is Dr. Bernard Topey. And that was the name I gave him. And she would get up, Dr. Topey, you have a call. And Crutchfield would get up and go out. And we would have so much fun. So much fun.
Oh, I've never heard that one. That's good.
Dr. Bernard Topey.
Dr. Topi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
First
fantastic.
transplanter.
Monkey heart.
A monkey heart. Yeah, nobody knew the difference.
The first song that Crutchfield ever cut, and it was a point of contention because at the time I was down in Muscle Shoals pitching songs, and he and Tom Collins were co-producing the Lee Greenwood Barbara Mandrell duet album. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That was a big.
And so it was hard to get a song on there. Well, I had my little publishing company. We got one on there, a Stan Muncie song, and so anyway, but because I had pitched it to him at MCA Music, he thought he should get all the publishing on it, which left me with nothing, obviously. But I'm thinking, oh, what a deal! They didn't call me TG either, really. Yeah. I said I'm not doing that. I'll do something with you guys, and I was dealing with him and Pat Higdon both. It was early on.
Yep.
Crutchfield and I became great buddies, obviously, but this was early on.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I was sick in Muscle Shoals, and he was going to call and talk to me, and I laryngitis. You can imagine that. You can imagine that conversation.
Yeah, you both sounded the same.
He was talking. And I'm going,
Hey, Jerry.
I really can't talk right now, Jerry. And we're going,
Welcome to my world.
but we actually had a conversation like that. I think he thought I was fucking with him, but I wasn't. That's a true story.
I did that once with Mel Tillis, and I didn't know he was there. I walked in his place over on 19th, I guess, or wherever, 18th, wherever his studio was. I walked in there after lunch one day, and we were coming to see Junior, and I walked in there, and we just ate and drank a whole bunch, and I looked right at the receptionist, and I said, I need to, I'm looking, I said, shit, I can't spit it out. I'm looking for Junior. And he was standing right behind me, said, happens to me all the time.
There was no funnier man than Mel
Oh, my
Tillis.
God.
No, he was funny.
I mean, 24/7, right, Harold? I mean, he.
Oh, yeah. He was on all the
He
time. Yeah.
was on.
Crutchfield also produced It Turned Me Inside Out.
That's right.
That's right.
He
Yeah,
did.
that was an amazing moment for everybody.
Yeah. He was an amazing guy.
Yep.
He was, man. He was a good guy.
Yeah, I miss all of those
He was a
guys.
disaster.
Yeah, I do too.
He was.
I know
He
you
was.
guys
He was a little
do,
bit of a
but-
mess.
Yeah.
I bet you really miss the old group, right? 'Cause
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not hurting.
Larry Mack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harlan, we spent days together.
You
know.
said you gave somebody one of the best compliments I've ever heard in my life when you mentioned Larry Mack. You said he never had a bad day.
Yeah.
What a great thing to say about somebody.
That is a great thing to say.
He never had a bad day.
He never met my ex-wife. Yeah. You didn't even have to know her, and you could have a bad day.
Doesn't be mentioned.
Yeah.
It could ruin a day.
Well, now that's a different subject.
Yeah.
That's not musical.
Yeah, that's true. It was a
say
lot
that's
of
right.
things. Yeah. It was a lot of things, but it wasn't.
But he
music.
did know about that.
Yeah.
Knew a little bit.
Oh my God.
When
That's
he and Lee Greenwood, they were making a lot of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Larry decided to change locations, you know, and he was paying his plaintiff number one 12 grand a month.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he
12
really,
grand a month?
he really wanted to go.
That's right.
You want to leave if it's
Yeah.
going to cost you 12 grand.
Somebody should leave.
Yeah,
Somebody should leave.
That's right.
He really wanted to go.
No, it is. It's like my marriage was like a poker game where I just kept getting to every other card. It's like it was.
They weren't aces.
Oh man, I never even had a pair of deuces in that one. I never not one. Oh, and somehow I was all in. I don't know what happened.
What's wrong with you?
I remember Harlan Howard telling me one time when I first met him.
Oh, yeah.
He called me goddamn juvenile. And,
Yeah.
right? And he
Yeah,
was
you
like,
damn juvenile.
you know, goddamn juvenile, everybody thinks I got so much damn money. He says, there is no amount of money you can divide in half 7 times and have anything left.
That's what I asked Harlan. When I was working at close quarters, I think he was divorcing Jan. And
The first time or the second time?
Yes.
I mean, he's married 7 times.
Well, he liked weddings.
He did.
And so we locked him in. You know, you go into close quarters and there's that gate that,
Yeah.
we close every night. And he's the only one that we just lock in there for the night. I'd come up get up in the morning and come downstairs, unlock the door, and Harlan would be sitting there. All the White Russian materials were gone.
Gone. Yeah, yeah.
He's like, we need to order more liquor.
Yeah.
He said, you damn
could drink.
juvenile, we need to order more liquor.
I got one that we're talking about Brian's ex-wife. So, what's really funny about this is that Brian's first wife. I don't know if you know what she did for a living. Harold, do you know? Brian's first
Brian.
wife?
She did Brian.
She was a comedian.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but
Stand-up comic.
But here's the story. So
That's right.
So
I used to tell her, sit
Tony,
down.
I met Tony Hazelin through Brian. That's how I met Tony Hazelin. So Tony and I, you know how great friends we all became. So Tony and I were producing the Kinleys, had some stuff going on. We're starting to produce the Wilkinsons, had some stuff going on in town, and people thought we knew what we were doing. So Brian calls me and says, hey, Jennifer, my wife, got signed to a record deal at Capitol. That's when all those comedy records would be made. Here's your sign.
She's being managed by Bob Dole.
She's being managed by Bob Dole, and she's going to make a record. And so we just thought, we're talking about, we know you and Tony, y'all want to produce the record? We're going, well, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Little did they know.
Because we think, Tony and I think we're pretty funny. We think Brian's funny. His wife must be funny. So anyway, so we get started on this thing, and we're going to make this record and put this thing together. So can I tell this story? I guess I can.
Yeah, we can tell it.
Yeah, so
Well, at least half of it.
Statute of limitations is bound to be passed by now.
this is during the Nashville Nowadays.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she comes to town to meet with us, and she's going to be a featured guest on Nashville Now with Ralph Emery while she's in town. So Tony and Julia decide to have a little reception at their house and have a handful of people over, and they're going to bring her from the show over to Tony's house and hang out with us and have some dinner and cocktails when we're all done and everything.
You'll notice I didn't come.
Yeah. So anyway, so she's on the show and we're all watching it, and she's doing her bit, and she's not funny. It's not funny.
It was, you can't sing.
You're not funny.
I should have said, excuse me, can you come in for a second?
You're not funny.
She's on the show and she's not funny, Harold. I mean, not even a little bit funny. So she shows up and we have drinks and we talk and everything. And I guess we just thought it was going to go away. We never talked about it again for a while. So we started getting phone calls about, we need to start getting this together and get a budget together for this record and everything. Yeah, we'll do that. So finally, we got a call from Bob Dole and him saying, have you guys got the budget and everything to make this record? So I said, no, we need to talk about this, because a couple of months had gone by. So I said to Tony, I said, what do we need to do? He said, well, man, this is a comedy record, right? And I said, we get back to the basics here. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, shouldn't she be funny if it's a comedy record? And I said, well, yeah, I think so. He said, well, do you think she's funny? I said, no, of course not. He said, well, me either. This is how stupid this gets. And so he said, well, I think we're funny. I said, I do too, you know. Hey, we can write some shit. I said, man, I don't know about that. And he said, well, Brian's funny. Brian's definitely funny. He said, well, let's call Brian so we don't think his wife's funny. I said, well, you call him. You tell him. Yeah, there's a major label deal going on here and everything. No, you call him. So finally I said, okay, I'll call him. So I said, man, I called Brian. I said, how you doing, man? Yeah. I said, yeah, we talked for a while, you know, because I don't want to tell him his comedian wife's not funny. So finally I said, man, we got a little problem here, you know. He said, what's that? I said, well, we don't think your wife's funny. He said, yeah, she's not. I don't either. I don't think she is either. I said, well,
I'm not laughing.
Yeah, well, how about, I said, well, you know, you could write, we think you're funny. He goes, yeah, I'm funny. I said, maybe you can write some shit. No, I can't do that. She's not going to let me do that. Anyway,
it was awful.
We ended up not making the record, but, you know, you got a major label deal going on here. The record never got
And it was her second deal.
It wasn't. I didn't know that.
We had a demo deal at RCA first, and then she got signed to Capitol.
Yeah.
And
She wasn't funny.
no, in a lot of ways, it kind of explains the T.G. Shepherd story from before.
No great.
Just about anybody can get signed to a record deal under the right set of circumstances, you know.
Hey, let me ask you something about Mark McGuinn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was it, VFR?
Yep.
Yeah,
And that label, I mean, you guys broke all kinds of records selling records like that.
we did. He was a great artist.
Mrs. Stephen Rudy?
Yes.
You
That
know?
came
Great
out of
record.
nowhere.
Well, you know what's funny is that I lived over on Warfield, you know, in Kurt Denny's place.
That was all mule time.
One night, Mule comes by with one boot on and Mark McGuinn.
Yeah.
And he'd thrown his boot out the window. And, you know, he was drunker than a skunk. He goes,
Out of beer.
he's like, you got to listen to this guy. You got to listen to this guy.
You don't know.
You
got no idea.
And so,
You don't know.
and McGuinn sits down with my guitar and starts playing songs. This is before you even heard him. You know, this was just Jeff and me and Mark. And I was like, that guy's really, really good.
Yeah.
And he was a sober one, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, but you guys went on and did incredible work. You know.
Well, we had one really good album.
Yep.
Yeah, but was that a Cal 4 thing or was that that was just VFR?
VFR.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Paul Lux and myself and
Yeah.
Ed Arnold.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys cut a great record, and I mean,
Yeah, we almost
great.
I mean,
great
how
record.
weird was
we
that?
almost pulled it off. We got it to number 4
Yeah.
and ran out of money.
Yeah, but as an independent against all the majors,
Exactly.
when nobody could do
Nobody
that.
could do that
You
back
couldn't do
then.
that back then. You couldn't be an independent and do that. You couldn't do that. And you did.
We did.
Harold,
And I'm
any
sorry.
final words for today, Harold, on this one?
No, nothing other than it's been another great day, and I appreciate all of our friends and buddies and the inspiration and the information and most of all the gasoline.
That's great.
Thank you, Harold. Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
us.
Harold.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Behind the Shed. Behind the Shed podcast was created by Wade Smith, produced by Russ Zavitson and Wade Smith, recorded at Ace Haggerty's podcast house in Nashville, Tennessee. Camera, audio, video, and editing by Zach Day and Jack Youngblood. Music written and composed by Russ Zavitson. Today's guests were Jason Morris, Chuck Bedwell, Brian Rawlings, Russ Zavitson, Wade Smith, and Harold Shedd. You can contact the show via email at behindtheshed@gmail.com or visit us on Facebook and Instagram. Have a great day and go out and share some stories. Tune in next week as we go Behind the Shed.